San Francisco takes on ultra-processed food giants. San Francisco is launching a first-of-its-kind lawsuit against major food companies, accusing them of knowingly selling ultra-processed products linked to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses. According to the BBC, the city argues these companies behave much like the tobacco industry, engineering addictive products, disguising health risks, and leaving taxpayers to absorb the healthcare costs. The lawsuit targets big names, including Kraft, Heinz, Mondelez, and Coca-Cola. City Attorney David Chu says these companies engineered a public health crisis. They profited handsomely, and now they need to take responsibility. The city stresses this case isn't about banning foods, but about deception and hidden harms. Industry groups say there's no universally accepted definition of ultra-processed foods and warn against demonizing all processed products. But momentum is shifting. Even the Trump administration and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have cracked down on artificial dyes, corn syrups, and seed oils, even though there's no real evidence seed oils causes problems. If San Francisco succeeds, this lawsuit could reshape how ultra-processed foods are marketed nationwide and how transparent companies must be about what's really in them. Okay, what's the real message here? San Francisco is saying, wait a minute, fast food companies, junk food companies, you're really no different than tobacco companies. If you're going to knowingly sell products that kill people and put them in the hospital and jack up our healthcare costs, you're going to have to pay. Let's dig a little deeper here. I won't kid you, this is a complex argument. I'm not in favor of simply saying any food product that isn't 100% healthy should be banned. I mean, there have been donuts around for decade after decade after decade after decade. And for most of that time, people were not suffering obesity. And donuts have never been healthy for us. But we do see an epidemic here of junk food marketed to everyone, to you, to me, to your children. And apologies for sounding like the old ancient boomer, and back in my day, as a kid, if you went to the gas station, you went inside to pay for gas. Maybe there was a Coke machine, but that was it. These days, you go to pay for gas, you are bombarded with thousands and thousands of junk food items, all of them beautifully packaged, beautiful graphics, color, cartoon characters, all inviting you, hey, buy this junk food, buy this junk food. The temptation is overwhelming. And in my day, people could watch too much TV and see too many ads for Tony the Tiger. I did, and I did eat a lot of sugar frosted flakes that weren't good for me. But these days, all of us are bombarded on average by 10,000 ads, images, branding messages per day. Thousands of them just for junk food, highly processed food, processed with nutrition deficit carbohydrates, lots of sugar, real sugar, artificial sugar, and lots of salt. Things designed to taste good, feel good in the mouth, but will kill you and will certainly reduce your lifespan. There's no doubt about that. So what are we to do? The city attorney is saying they engineered a public health crisis. Here's where it gets tricky. Smoking cigarettes, the evidence is pretty clear that the tobacco is, number one, addictive. Number two, there's really no safe level of regular smoking that is good for you, that doesn't typically cause long-term health damage. The same cannot be said. If you drink one Coke once a month and everything else is water, and you run and you exercise and you're doing calisthenics and you're lifting weights, then it's certainly possible for you not to suffer any health problems from that one Coca-Cola. The problem, of course, is very few people have one Coke a month. And the evidence is pretty compelling that even one Coke per day dramatically increases your chances of diabetes. So that's the real problem here, is how do you balance this out? Now, for those who say, well, this is an unwelcome intrusion of government, we already regulate plenty of products. We regulate cigarettes. We don't let tobacco companies sell to minors. Why? Because it kills them. And it's not like a 12-year-old takes one puff on a cigarette and they die. It's never that fast. In fact, they could probably smoke their whole teenage years and maybe not suffer any health problem. But there's just a much better chance they're going to die, possibly of lung cancer, other problems, when they're 40 rather than 90 if they start that early addiction of smoking cigarettes at 12. And there's just a tremendous amount of evidence that these junk food companies selling highly processed foods are just as damaging. In fact, when you scale it out on our society, they're more damaging than cigarettes because we now have a nation where 70% of Americans are either technically obese or overweight, or depending on which definition you use of obesity, we have as many as 70% of people obese. This causes a dramatic spike in diabetes, hypertension, stroke, heart attack, and early death, and increased healthcare charges. So that's the angle the city of San Francisco is going after. They're suing 10 major food companies over the health problem. Now, I'm sure the health companies are saying, well, what about the 11th one? Or what about the local bakery that everybody loves with those pies that have 200% of the amount of sugar of your recommended daily allowance? Shouldn't they be sued too? So it is very hard to draw the line. And their point is accurate that it is some ways hard to actually define what a heavily processed food item is, because a Beyond Burger vegetarian meat is highly processed. You do hear me and nutritionists and health experts constantly urging people, try to eat as little of highly processed food as possible. Eat an orange, not orange juice. Orange juice is processed 5 oranges. Eat a salad with oil and vinegar on top, not with the salad dressing you get at fast food restaurants where they've got 189 ingredients and sugar in it. In general, that is a great rule to follow on an individual basis. What should society be doing? Coca-Cola agreed to switch to real cane sugar away from the fructose. There's not really a lot of evidence that's better. Americans consume way too much sugar of every form, artificially processed sugar, synthetic sugars, real sugar. The problem is it messes up your blood levels. It spikes your sugar levels. It makes you hungry. It makes you eat more and more and more. And before you know it, overweight, obesity, diabetes. So the problem isn't as simple as getting rid of the high corn fructose and switching to regular sugar. It really isn't. Where is this going to go, this lawsuit in San Francisco? I don't know, but it's a huge, huge problem. It's really the number one problem killing Americans. So I'm not going to pile on, the most politically correct thing for an internet commentator to do is to say, wow, look at those loony left lunatics in San Francisco and their big government socialist ideas, their nanny state ideas, telling people they can't have a candy bar and wanting to punish law-abiding corporations. That's the easy take if you're a guy, a woman on the internet opining. That would be the easy take. I want to play it to you straight and be more nuanced. This is the number one thing killing us. I hate to tell you. It's not the kids lurking or the adults lurking out in the playground attacking your kids. It's the sugar coming after. These days, it's not even air pollution. It is the sugar and crap we're putting in our mouths. And these days, you could argue, it's not even the videos we're watching. It's the videos we're watching encouraging us to eat more sugar. So I'm going to directionally endorse what San Francisco's done. Will it survive all of the court challenges and legality? I don't know. But if nothing else, it may get a number of food companies to start questioning the garbage they're putting out. Just as famously Steve Jobs didn't let his own kids have an iPad and get addicted to cell phone. Oh, not for my kid. Just as we see these days so many Silicon Valley big shots and billionaires put their kids in schools that completely ban cell phones, unlike most of America. I highly suspect that most high-ranking officials and executives at processed food companies don't let their kids eat this food, or they make it so limited and so sparing that it's not causing them problems. Okay, so the bigger issue, frankly, for a lot of people is, part of the lawsuit here is we need more disclosure, and the big food companies are not telling people how risky it is. I don't know if I buy that, because A lot of people still smoke, and right on the package of the cigarettes says, this will kill you. But just like with smoking, if you're running informational campaigns telling people don't eat it, if you're making it harder, if you're restricting it, if you're restricting the sales, if you age gate it, you can dramatically change behavior. We live in a society where, 50, 60 years ago, you had a majority of adults smoking. These days, it's a tiny, tiny portion of that. And the number, frankly, of educated, successful, wealthy people who smoke is minuscule. They got the memo. We could, in fact, do something like that for junk food. We could age gate it. We could constantly run public service announcements telling people, just like you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't eat Fruity Pebbles. They'll both kill you. We could do that. It would upset a lot of businesses, but we could. And we could, in fact, put a stigma on the people who are creating these things. That might make a difference. Because if we can reduce the number of people eating junk food, taking decades off their life, the same way we reduced people smoking, we would all be healthier and wealthier.